everybody, welcome back to Record-ology. This is gonna be really cool. I've been looking forward to this video. I say that every week, every show, but I am, for every single one, just super obsessed and interested in the subject matter. Today, we are going to be taking a look at a Phono preamp. We haven't reviewed a preamp in quite some time, and when it comes to the preamps, I'm always looking, when it comes to anything, I'm looking for something that's unique, something that's exciting, something that's different. And I think that this will fit the bill for us. It's about $109 on Amazon. So as we go through this, let's see if it adds up to that, if it seems to make sense. It's from a company which I believe is pronounced Douk Audio. And let's get into it. You're not gonna wanna miss this.
Welcome to Record-ology.
And here it is. So I'm excited to check this out. Before we do that though, a couple of things. One, I want to get your opinion on something. Does this set, the way that this looks on camera in terms of sitting through a video, is it too boring looking? Like, do I need props or do I need like things in the background? That white wall in the back, I don't know. I don't want it to look too sterile. Or does it look clean and good? I don't know. I'm always curious for the input because I'm trying to improve, everything all the time. Okay, before we open this up, I'm going to do a direct feed sound test with a turntable that requires a preamp. So we will do that, a vintage turntable. But before we do that, I want to go over at a very high level what a preamp is for. Because when I started in collecting records and getting into this, I was confused myself until I went out and researched it. I was like, why do you need a preamp? Wouldn't an amplifier be enough? So I wanted to give you a very, very simple diagram showing you what a preamp is for. Really, this is just an elaborate opportunity for me to have an excuse to use my brand new space pen. But I can write upside down, through grease, water, in space, you name it. Ever wondered how these work, by the way? It's basically just a pressurized chamber. So the ink is under pressure, therefore it doesn't rely on gravity. Very cool. Always wanted one. Thankful to have one. I'm talking about a pen. We need to talk about record players. So I wanted to create a bit of a diagram here and talk about why you need a preamp. And sometimes preamps are built into modern turntables, especially. Older preamps or older turntables don't have them built in. So that's why there's a market, and always will be, always has been, for external preamps. But what does it do? What in the world does it do? So let's go ahead and talk about this for a minute. If this right here is a scale of voltage, and it's a sliding scale of higher voltage and lower voltage, there are two positions that we want to talk about. One of those is what's called phono level. So right here, we're going to call this phono level. Oops, not phone, phono level. And up here, we're going to call this line level. Phono level is what comes out of a record needle or a turntable with no amplification, no preamplification. And line level is what is required to plug into powered speakers, a stereo system, a receiver, etc., etc., etc. So basically the voltage is too low at phono level, coming straight out of the record player, without something to boost it up. Now, this is not the amplification that, you turn the volume up to listen to music. This is approximately 40 to 60 decibels or 1 volt of amplification. Line level is essentially 1,000 times more amplified than phono level, but even line level is just line level. It's not loud enough to really listen to and jam out to your music. At line level, an amplifier takes over, which is why getting from here to here is called preamplification. So if your record player outputs phono level, this time I'm going to spell it right, and you want to connect it to a line level device like your receiver, which is an amplifier, or powered speakers, etc., you need to take it up to this level. And this is where the preamp sits. So right here, preamp. is what happens. It takes the phono level, preamplifies it up to line level so that it can be amplified for your enjoyment. So that's what a preamplifier does. 40 to 60 decibels of increased volume, which takes it from phono level to line level. If you were to plug a phono level connection into powered speakers or something that should be expecting a line level input, it would just be very, very quiet. Too quiet to even amplify. So that's the purpose of the preamp, and that's what we are here for today, is to check out this one, this very one right here. Now there's more to it than just pure amplification or preamplification. There is also the process of adding EQ. Modern vinyl records, and when I say modern, I'm talking, post 50s, are going to be mastered with and expected to play back with something called the RIAA curve. It's an EQ curve that allows recording engineers to record the music onto the record with depleted frequencies, specifically bass frequencies depleted. And the reason why they do that is it allows them to modulate the record tighter, thereby cramming more grooves on a disc, because those bassy frequencies require a lot of physical modulation. It makes big grooves. So how do you shrink the grooves down? Well, you demodulate, or essentially de-emphasize the bass frequencies, then get re-amplified on the back end. That's done through the preamplifier stage oftentimes. So the RIAA curve basically adds those frequencies back in that were pulled out during the mastering process. It's an ingenious thing. It works flawlessly, but it's something else to keep in mind. All right, so we've got our components here. We've got like a user guide, warranty card deal here. We've got an RCA to 1/8 inch, and that's good to have. Looks like good gold-plated contacts, cable ties, all that good stuff. Power supply, a couple of tubes, as this is a tube device, and here is the big reveal. This thing is gorgeous. You'll see why I picked it. And when I say picked it, they sent me a list of products, said, hey, do you want to review our preamps? I'm like, yes. What do you got? And they sent me a list of ones. I thought, well, this one looks really cool. I love the design. I love how it's sort of stacked vertically. Plus, that would be really good, like for space. I'm limited space on my desk, so this would be really nice to not take up too much room. Plus, we've got a good old analog VU meter. It does have the tubes. I'm guessing it's a hybrid like the other tube preamp we reviewed. So the tubes are there for to color the sound, but I'm sure that there's some solid state components in the amplifier here as well. So we got a good, nice metal knob there. This is all metal construction, by the way. Even this box up here looks really good, feels good, heavy. It's also a headphone amplifier, so you can get the tube sound, the warmth and everything from your turntable and listen to it privately without even going out to speakers, which is really, really cool. On the back here at the top, we've got the input. This is also designed to actually handle a moving coil, a moving coil cartridge or a moving magnetic cartridge. So that's a really cool feature that it has. It doesn't look like you need to select anything to make that happen. So I'm assuming that the internals are doing that automatically. Back to our diagram before, a moving coil cartridge outputs an even lower voltage than a moving magnet. So it's even less than phono level. But it will take that as well and amplify everything out to line. As you can see, phono, that refers to the level, so the low voltage in, and then line, which is also a reference of voltage output. So it makes that leap from the low voltage to the high voltage so that we can connect this to either powered speakers that have the built-in amplifier or a receiver, sound system, whatever, sound bar, etc., etc. It runs off of 12-volt power supply. And yeah, this thing just feels good. Let's look at it on the side here. We got some dip switches here. Oh, okay, so there's where you make the adjustment. That's good. I'm glad. So yeah, you can choose based on the position of the dip switches, if it's at a moving coil or moving magnet. And then also it looks like you can set your resistance as well. And there's even a VU meter adjust. So I like the way this is. This feels like it's quality. It feels like it's put together intelligently, which is exciting. By the way, looking at this closer, it's pre-selected to moving magnet, which is good because that's what I'll be using it for. And you don't need to change the resistance unless you're using a moving coil cartridge. So here are the tubes. The other unit we reviewed used a General Electric. These are a Japanese, I believe, an Electron tube, one each. I remember the last time I tried installing tubes, which would be the first time I ever tried installing tubes. It was rather, it was hard to insert, so hopefully these will be better. I don't want to break it. Yeah, same thing. It's pretty stiff getting it down in there. And for my time in television broadcast, I feel like I shouldn't be touching this with my bare hands. Television light bulbs, you have to use gloves because the oils from your fingers, when the bulbs heat up, actually make them explode. So if you ever seen like clips of television where the studio lights blow up, it's because oils get on there and it turns this nasty color and it bubbles up and then they just blow up. These obviously are not going to operate at those temperatures, so I think they'll be fine. Does that say GE? No. It looked like a GE logo for a second. Okay, cool. All right, no GE. This is not GE. Okay, I've got the lights down now so we can hopefully see the glow of the tubes when I turn it on. And I should have mentioned this at the outset as well. Look at the color of that powder-coated case. That looks really good. Sort of this like, is it a greenish blue or a greenish gray or maybe a bluish gray? It's hard to tell. But I should have mentioned why tubes. Like, why would you want a tube preamplifier or amplifier versus a solid state? Because yes, tube technology is an older, much older technology for amplification. So why are we going backwards here? And the answer is because it has a warm sound signature. Tube amplifiers are known to add warmth. Yes, it's distortion. We're not going to go down that road today, but it adds a nice warmth to the sound. It's very nicely paired with vinyl, so it's desirable from that standpoint. If you get a solid state preamplifier, those work great too. It's not a deal breaker, but if you want to add just a little bit of a nice tonality to your music, this is a good way to do it. Not too expensive either. Let's go ahead and turn this on. Those light up right away, and as they come to temperature, which takes about 30 seconds, you could see them glow in all of their glory. Let's look at the VU meter. Obviously, we'll look at this in action here in a few minutes or in a couple of minutes. And yeah, just another look at that front panel. Man, that's sharp. This is the T4 Plus, and that is a legit, non-decorative, actual VU meter. You can see the needle bouncing a little bit just as I handle it there. And here we have the tubes. And you don't have to worry about replacing these, very often. I mean, this is, even if you use it every day, this is probably, these tubes are going to last you for a few years. So no big deal there. And it's not expensive to replace a tube. I'm going to be using this awesome Sumiko Black Pearl cartridge. This is one of my favorite kind of $100 cartridges, and it will do well. For a turntable, I went with the old Gemini, beautiful turntable. And like I said, I'm going to fit it with this Sumiko Black Pearl cartridge. Obviously, I will balance everything off camera. Running the audio through here, it'll be a direct feed for you, so you'll be able to get the stereo direct feed. So put your headphones on, and recording on my Zoom H2N recorder. So I'll be recording high resolution. Obviously, YouTube will dumb that down, but not so much that you can't get the effect. You should get the warmth. You should get the vibrancy of it all and everything like that. For music, I'm going to be using the trusty Enoch Light Total Sound Shock because it sounds good. It's copyright friendly, and people actually ask for it when I don't use it. So we're going to use it for today. It's going to be a great way to test some analog, warm sounding audio through what I hope to be an analog, warm sounding preamplifier. So, couple of observations before we get started. So this knob not only controls the volume of the headphone jack, but it actually controls the quote-unquote line output. So the line output is variable, and I remember this from the other tube preamp that we reviewed, and it ends up not being a problem once you find out what line level really is. In the case of the other one, it was pretty much cranked. In the case of this one, I feel like the amplifier is stronger. Another thing I noticed is the VU meter is not really giving us much action unless this thing is cranked. So I'm going to show that to you prior to us listening so you don't blow your ears out, because it comes out super hot, way too hot for the recorder if I do that. But I want you to see that VU meter in action. I also did listen for my own self on the headphones for a while. Sounds fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Okay, this is with the knob cranked to 100%. So even with the knob cranked at 100%, it's peaking out on this VU meter at like 60 to 70. So I feel like it's not calibrated correctly. And when you're listening to it in the real world, it's going to look more like this. So yeah, it's got a little bit of movement right there, but I don't know if I would say that is going to be an accurate VU meter. I think it just needs calibration. But there is the VU meter adjust on the side. Okay, and without further ado, here it is, the direct feed sound test of the Douk Audio T4 Plus preamplifier. Okay, so final thoughts. I was sitting there looking at a tweaker tool, looking at the trim pot, and saying, what am I doing? Just fix it. So I did. So now the VU meter dances like it should. I should have done that in the beginning. My apologies there. So yeah, I think it's cool. I think it looks awesome. I think the build quality is fantastic. The sound quality to me is good. It's warm for sure. I was listening for those high frequencies and I think they are there. So overall, I think the sound signature is warm but accurate, and there's a good representation of highs, mids, and lows. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Definitely know what a preamplifier is for, and let me know in the comments down below what you think about this one. All right, my friends, if you enjoyed this video, which I hope you did, that's the most important thing, your enjoyment, your satisfaction, go ahead and give us a thumbs up. Don't forget to comment down below. Let us know what you think. I think it was good. Like I said, I think it was really good. In fact, I'll put a link down below if you want to snag one of these. $109 is a pretty good price for a good preamp. It's not super expensive. They can go for way more than that. It's also not the entry-level $20 ones as well. Although I do kind of want to find like the cheapest preamp, external preamp available and test that out at some point. This is sort of a good middle ground. Anyway, that's going to do it for today, guys. Happy record hunting. We'll see you next time.